The wind stopped. The clouds twisted, and somewhere, unseen, a storm began to wake.
No one knew who held the wand, but everyone would remember the night the sky listened.
The sound came before anything else.
A long, low hum, like the sky holding its breath.
The villagers said it rolled across the fields just after sunset, but no one could agree on where it began. Some believed it came from the old marsh. Others whispered it rose straight from beneath the earth. Yet all of them remembered the same thing the moment the clouds started to twist above the blackthorn tree. A shape stood under the branches, barely visible in the fading light. One arm lifted slowly, as if waiting for something that had not yet arrived. The wand, dark as wood stone, caught the last line of daylight and glowed for only a second, then vanished into shadow.
No one knew who held it that night,
but they all remembered what happened next, and how the storm began to gather like a living thing.
People still talk about that moment, because it felt like a warning.
The sky tightened, the air grew heavy, the wind did not blow, it listened. And even now, years later, many believe that was the first sign that the old stories were waking again. A quiet path leads to the tree. The ground there is soft, and it keeps the prints of anyone who walks too close.
That evening, someone left a trail of small steps, uneven steps, like the walker kept stopping.
And when the village elder followed them the next morning, he said the steps looked uncertain, as if the person was arguing with their own fear. Some steps went forward, some turned back, some circled in place.
He paused by the tree and touched the bark.
Whoever came here, he whispered, did not come by choice. He noticed something else too, small black thorns scattered on the ground. Fresh ones, sharp enough to cut through cloth. Thorns from the branch where the wand was said to be carved long ago. He took one and held it in his hand.
His fingers shook a little, not from fear, but from something quiet, a memory perhaps, because he had known someone who once searched for that wand many years earlier. Someone gentle, someone who vanished without a trace. But he said nothing to the others, at least not then.
He only breathed slowly and let his hand rest against the tree, as if the bark might answer him. The wind touched the leaves. The sky stayed silent.
And for a moment, he felt something he had not felt since childhood, a soft pull, like a voice far away calling his name. A farmer approached him and stepped carefully.
Did
someone use it?
He asked, almost whispering. The elder looked at the clouds. If they did, he said, the sky will tell us soon. The farmer swallowed, his shoulders tight.
We're not ready for another storm. No, the elder replied, eyes fixed on the horizon.
But storms do not wait for us to be ready. He started walking back toward the village, but not quickly.
His breath was slow, his steps were slower. The thorn was still in his hand, and he kept touching it gently with his thumb, as if afraid it would disappear. Something in him knew this was not an accident. Someone had awakened the wand, or at least tried to. And somewhere, hidden inside the wind, a small sound moved with him.
It was not humming this time. It was lighter, thinner, almost like a whisper. A voice that did not belong to the village. A voice that seemed to follow him home. The sky dimmed again, though it was not yet night.
Clouds began to form in soft circles above the hilltop. A cold breeze brushed across the grass, pushing it all in one direction toward the old tree. And in the distance, a rumble echoed, low and steady, like steps approaching from far away.
The elder stopped walking. His shoulders lifted slightly, and he closed his eyes.
He did not speak. He did not turn.
He simply waited, as if expecting someone to stand behind him.
For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wind answered. It blew straight toward the village, carrying the smell of rain and something older, something earthy and metallic, like the scent before lightning touches the ground. The elder opened his eyes and whispered a single line.
It has begun again. He walked faster now, almost a half run, though his breath was uneven. People looked at him from doorways, and some stepped closer. What did you see?
One woman asked.
He didn't reply at first. He just opened his hand and showed the thorn. A few villagers stepped back.
One young man frowned. Please don't tell me that's from the...
It is, the elder said. The young man stared at the sky.
Then we're in trouble. Maybe, the elder answered. Or maybe someone is trying to stop something worse. But deep inside, he wasn't sure which one was true. The elder reached his home before the first raindrop fell. He pushed the door closed behind him and leaned against it for a moment, breathing slowly. The room was dim, lit only by the soft glow from a small oil lamp on the table. He set the blackthorn thorn beside it. The tiny shadow it cast stretched long across the wood, thin and sharp as a needle. He sat down, resting his hands on his knees. His fingers tapped lightly, an old habit when he felt unsure. And tonight, he felt more unsure than he had in years. The village had forgotten the old stories.
They had forgotten the warnings tied to the wand, but he had not. He remembered each one word by word.
As he stared at the thorn, he heard footsteps outside.
Slow, careful steps like someone afraid to be seen.
His breath tightened.
He stood up quietly, moved toward the window, and parted the curtain just a little. The figure stood in the path. The person didn't walk forward. He didn't turn around. He simply stood there with their head lowered, holding something wrapped in cloth.
A small shape, about the size of a candle. The elder's heart pressed hard against his chest. He whispered to himself, "Not again."
Not so soon. The figure lifted his head, even through the glass. Even in the faint light, he recognized the eyes immediately tired, afraid, and full of something he had seen before. Responsibility. The door creaked softly as he opened it. "You shouldn't be here," he said quietly. The figure stepped closer. Rain touched their hair now, though the storm had not yet begun.
"I didn't know where else to go," he whispered. His voice carried both strength and breaking.
"It reacted to me."
The elder stared at the wrapped object in their hands.
"Show me." They hesitated only for a heartbeat. Then they unwrapped the cloth slowly. A dark, slender branch lay inside. Smooth, almost polished.
And at the base, the faint outline of a carved spiral, like a storm frozen in wood. The wand, not a copy.
Not a story. The real one. Rain began falling harder now, tapping lightly on the roof like fingers drumming a warning. He stepped back without realizing it.
His breath slowed until it felt stuck in his throat.
"Do you understand what you carry?" he asked, voice almost trembling. "I didn't want it," they whispered.
"But it called to me."
The elder closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered the stories of Folklore, the druid who carved the first wand. He remembered the warnings about chosen hands. He remembered the disappearances, the storms, the footprints leading to the sea. He opened his eyes again.
"What happened?"
he asked. The figure swallowed.
Their hands tightened on the cloth.
"The sky changed when I touched it. The wind
moved toward me,
and the ground hummed." They looked down at the wand. It felt like it wanted something.
or like it was waiting.
A small flash of lightning cracked behind the hills, silent at first, then followed by a long, rolling growl of thunder.
The elder felt the vibration in the floorboards. "This is not a tool," he said softly. "It is a promise."
"And a warning." "I know," they said.
Their voice softened.
"That's why I came." For a moment, the room felt very small, as if the storm outside was leaning closer, waiting to hear the rest.
The elder walked to the table and touched the blackthorn thorn again.
"Did you bring this with you?" The figure shook their head. "No, it appeared on my doorstep last night." The elder's hand froze. Something wasn't right. The wand chooses its holder. That part of the legend was known.
But thorns appearing on a doorstep, that was something older, something tied not to the wand itself, but to the one who once guarded it.
Folklore, the story said he used thorns as signs, left for those who were meant to continue his work.
But Folklore vanished centuries ago.
No one had seen his markings since. Until now, the elder turned slowly. "Someone, or something, wants you to take the wand somewhere." The figure looked up sharply. "Where?" Lighting struck again. Closer this time. The lamp flickered. The air trembled, and the elder whispered, "To the place where the storms are born." Before either of them could speak again, a loud knock hit the door, 3 hard strikes that shook the frame. The figure stepped back. The elder's heart jumped. The knocking came again, faster, urgent, like someone running from something just outside. He walked toward the door slowly, one hand raised to silence the figure behind him. Another knock, then a woman's voice, breathless and shaking. "Open the door. The sky, it's changing."
A cold wind swept across the jagged cliff, carrying the sharp taste of salt and a sense of something unknown.
Clouds twisted above in restless circles, dark and heavy at the edges, pale in the center, like eyes watching a secret unfold. In the boy's hand, a twisted blackthorn wand pulsed faintly with pale blue light, small but alive, beating in rhythm with the sky. Every wave below crashed harder than before, spraying mist that chilled his face. One wrong step could send him tumbling into the roaring sea.
yet he did not move back. His fingers were numb, gripping the wand as if letting go would mean losing more than an object.
Each step on the wet rock was careful, slow, deliberate.
Rain drenched his hair and cloak, making every breath a tremor in his chest.
Memories rose unbidden. The warmth of a master's hand, the quiet voice in a forest at night. The first time he had held the wand, small, unafraid, asking for help. It had answered then.
Now, it demanded something he did not yet understand. A sudden gust of wind knocked against him, pushing him sideways. A loose stone slid from beneath his boots, plummeting into the dark water below with a splash that seemed louder than thunder. The wand pulled insistently, as though it had its own will, tugging his arm forward.
Lightning split the sky, striking near his feet, throwing him back, singeing the edge of his cloak. The storm was testing him, probing, alive with a will of its own.
Something is watching the cliff tonight.
He raises the wand again, slower this time. The wood pulses like a heartbeat. His grip tightens.
A line of silver mist floats around him in a circle, as if marking a boundary he must not cross. He stands inside it, small and shaking.
He remembers Master Round's voice, soft but firm. The wand does not choose the brave.
It chooses the willing.
But storms choose no one. He closes his eyes.
The memory hurts more than the cold. Rowan is gone taken by a storm like this one.
A storm that answered a call no one understood. The boy had seen the old man's face in the flash of lightning that night, calm even as the sky broke open above him.
And then he was gone.
The wand buzzes now, pulling his hand forward. The boy almost drops it.
The strength inside it is growing. A crack of thunder hits the air, close enough to shake the ridge.
He steps back instinctively, but the wand drags his arm forward again. No, he whispers, shaking his head. Not yet, but the storm moves as if it hurt him.
Clouds twist into a spiral above him, dark at the edges, glowing faintly at the center.
A strange sound rises, not thunder, not wind.
Something between a sigh and a whisper.
Something old. He swallows hard. His throat feels tight. A single tear mixes with the rain on his cheek. Rowan, he says under his breath, I hope you were right about me. The wand flashes.
A thin line of lightning hits the sea.
Strom hits the cliff near him, spraying stone into the air. He drops to his knees, covering his head. The wand stays upright in his hand, pointing to the sky by its own will. The storm's voice grows louder. It circles him, folding around him like a giant, invisible shape. He thinks of the night he first found the wand. He had been smaller then, lost in the woods, running from the same storm that later took his master. The tree had been split in half by lightning, glowing faintly inside.
And in the hollow of the trunk, resting as if placed carefully by someone unseen, he saw the Blackthorn Wand. He had reached for it with trembling fingers. The wood had been warm. He remembered whispering, Please,
help me. And the storm stopped, just like that, as if holding its breath.
Now, the sky does not hold its breath.
It roars.
He forces himself to stand, legs shaking, hair soaked against his face.
If he runs, it will chase him. It always does.
If he stays, it may tear him from the ground. Yet he stays.
The sea rises higher. Foam jumps toward the cliff, as if trying to reach the wand. Thunder folds into itself and grows deeper. The air vibrates through his ribs. A voice clearer this time echoes through the storm. Not words, more like a feeling shaped into sound. A warning. He takes a step forward. I am not your enemy. His voice shakes, almost lost in the wind. The storm responds with a sudden bolt of lightning that hits the ground inches from his foot.
The heat pushes him backward.
His cloak catches fire at the edge, and he slaps it out quickly, heart pounding.
Please, he says, louder this time. I don't want to fight. For a moment, the winds ease.
Just a moment.
And in that tiny silence, he hears his own heartbeat.
He thinks of Rowan again, the old man's gentle hands guiding his grip on the wand, showing him how to hold something that could summon rain or silence it. He remembers him kneeling beside him in the forest, placing a hand on his shoulder.
You carry storms inside you, Rowan had said.
But even storms can be guided. A soft ache tightens in his chest. He holds the wand close, like he once held Rowan's sleeve when he was small and afraid. I miss you, he whispers. The clouds shift. Their glow softens slightly, like an eye blinking.
Then the storm rises again higher, fiercer. But this time its voice carries something else.
Not anger, not warning, a question. He steps closer to the cliff edge, ignoring the cold fear twisting in his stomach. The wind nearly knocks him sideways, but he steadies himself. What do you want me to do? He asks,
His voice breaks.
A single bright flash bursts across the sky. But instead of striking the ground, it hangs there frozen as if waiting for him.
The wand pulls his hand upward. Slowly, gently this time. His fingers stop shaking.
He breathes out. All right, he says softly. Show me. The lightning shifts, twisting into a narrow path of light. Inside it, he sees something impossible, a figure standing in the brightness. Cloak torn, hair wild from the wind. Rowan.
His breath catches.
His chest tightens so much he can barely stand. Master? But the figure does not speak. It only raises a hand, slowly pointing downward toward the rocks below the cliff.
Toward a place the waves never touch. The light vanishes.
The sky collapses into darkness again. The boy falls to his knees, shaken, soaked, unsure if what he saw was real.
But he knows the gesture.
Rowan never pointed without purpose. He moves along the ridge, searching, feeling along the cold stone with trembling fingers. The storm quiets slightly, as if guiding him.
Then under a ledge, his hand touches something carved deep into the rock.
A mark, a spiral made of smaller spirals, like a storm drawn into stone.
He looks closer.
Beneath the moss, he sees words chiseled into the cliff.
His breath shakes as he reads them. Storms are not born.
They are asked. He steps back, stunned.
His mind races.
Rows of smaller markings circle the main symbol, ancient runes he has seen only once, in Rowan's secret journal.
Runes that speak of a pact older than any kingdom. A pact made between wind and wood. A pact using the Blackthorn Wand. A drop of rain hits his cheek.
Then another. The storm is waiting.
He stands again and touches the carving.
The rock hums under his palm.
A hidden piece shifts inward with a faint click, like a door unlocking.
A narrow channel reveals itself in the stone deep enough to place something inside. He understands. His eyes widen with fear and realization. The wand. The storm rumbles above him, softer now. Expectant. He hesitates, gripping the wand tighter.
If I give this up,
what happens to me? No answer.
Only the low breath of the wind moving around him, steady, patient.
He thinks of Rowan's smile, of the nights by the fire, of the old man's hand on his shoulder, warm and steady.
You carry storms inside you. He inhales slowly. His chest rises. His fear softens into something else.
Resolve. He lifts the wand. Rain drips down its dark grain, making it shine like obsidian.
His hand pauses above the channel.
This is what you wanted to show me, he whispers to the storm. What he wanted to show me. He places the wand into the stone. The cliff trembles. A deep pulse moves through the ground, through the air, through him.
The sea roars beneath him.
The storm opens wide above him, lightning spiraling through the sky like veins of white fire. He steps back, shielding his face. The wand glows brighter, brighter, until it becomes a pillar of pure light rising into the sky. The storm screams.
Clouds split open, revealing a vast circle of pale blue light above the cliff calm at the center, wild at the edges.
The lightning bends toward the wand, drawn to it like metal to a magnet. The wind rushes inward, spinning faster, forming a spiral around the rising column of light.
The storm is being pulled in.
He watches in awe, heart pounding. The sky itself seems to fold inward, as if the wand is drinking the storm, pulling its anger, its thunder, its rain, into the carving where it rests. The wind shoves him backward, and he falls into the grass, breathless. The storm screams louder.
Then silence.
The pillar of light vanishes. The sky opens into a calm, pale grey.
The sea smooths.
The cliff stops shaking.
He slowly rises to his feet, trembling.
His eyes search the stone. The wand is gone.
In its place, the carving now glows faintly, as if the wand still breathes inside it. A soft warmth touches his cheek.
Not rain, not wind, just warmth. He closes his eyes.
A small smile forms on his lips, fragile but real.
Thank you, he whispers.
A gull cries over the sea.
The waves move gently now, like a sleeping beast. The boy sits on the edge of the cliff, breathing slowly for the first time since the storm began. He thinks of Rowan not as a last figure in lightning, but as a presence that lives in the calm after storms.
He lets the memory settle in his chest like a quiet ember.
He looks at the sky, soft and silver.
Storms are not born, he says softly, repeating the words in the stone.
They are asked. He stands and walks back along the ridge, the wind brushing gently past him like a friendly hand. And as he leaves the cliff behind, he glances once more at the carving. The faint glow pulses once, like a heartbeat.
A promise that storms will always answer, but only to those willing to listen.
And with a final breath of the quiet wind, he smiles and whispers a line that feels older than the cliffs themselves. The power of storms is not in the thunder, but in the hand that dares to guide it.
but in the hand that dares to guide it.